There's a quiet shift happening around you, Aquarius. It's not loud, it's not dramatic. But if you listen closely, your spirit can feel it. A soft turning of divine gears, a realignment of everything that once fell apart. The losses that used to ache like open wounds are starting to make sense in the language of destiny. The things you mourned, the people who disappeared, the seasons that ended too soon, they were never gone. They were simply being rearranged to return to you in a higher form. For too long, you've walked through invisible battles. You've been misunderstood for your silence, underestimated for your softness, and judged for your detachment. But what they didn't know was that heaven had you in a sacred process. A divine sequence that no human interference could disrupt. Now the air around you feels different, doesn't it? There's a calm before a return. A vibration that whispers you're about to receive back what you thought you lost. Not in fragments, not in exhaustion, but in divine order. Because when God restores, He never brings it back as it was. He brings it back transformed so it can finally fit the version of you that has evolved through pain. This is that season, Aquarius. The one your soul has quietly waited for. Every delay, every detour, every heartbreak was a step toward this moment of restoration. The energy around you is shifting from survival to revival. You're entering a chapter where peace replaces confusion and clarity replaces chaos. The same things that broke you are now becoming the proof of how deeply heaven favored you. Before we go deeper, I want you to write this in the comments below. I receive divine restoration, not as a wish, but as a confirmation. Let the universe see your faith in words. Let heaven know you are ready. Because by the time this message ends, Aquarius, you'll understand. Nothing that left your life was lost. It was only being prepared to return. And now, that return has begun. Aquarius, it's been a long season where everything seemed to stop moving. The plans you made didn't unfold the way you expected. People you trusted slowly drifted away. Opportunities that once felt secure suddenly slipped through your hands. And in the middle of it all, you began to question yourself. You wondered if you were doing something wrong, or if life had simply forgotten about you. But this season of stillness wasn't punishment. It was a sacred pause, a divine intermission. Heaven was protecting you from things that were too small for your next chapter. There were voices around you that could have distracted you, paths that could have led you off course, and situations that would have drained the energy you now need for your restoration. That's why God pulled you into quietness. You weren't abandoned, you were being protected. You weren't rejected, you were being redirected. In that silence, something inside you was being built. Your strength, your patience, and your understanding of what truly matters were all being shaped when nothing seemed to be happening. You may not have realized it, but that quiet season was a classroom for your spirit. The lessons weren't taught with words, they were felt. You learned how to stand when support was gone. You learned how to trust when clarity wasn't there. You learned how to keep faith when nothing was changing. Aquarius, those moments weren't wasted. They were preparing you for what's coming next. Every tear that fell in private, every silent prayer you whispered into the night, every time you chose peace instead of anger, it all became the foundation of your next breakthrough. The world may have looked at you and thought you were losing, but what they couldn't see was the transformation happening in silence. You were being strengthened for restoration. The stillness you hated so much was actually planting the roots for your miracles. And now something in your life is beginning to shift again. You can feel it, even if you can't explain it. Doors that were once closed will begin to open. The heaviness that followed you will start to lift. What you thought was the end of your story was simply the waiting period before your rise. This is the moment where stillness turns into motion. The quiet is ending, Aquarius. The things that once paused are now ready to move. The seeds that were planted during your silent season are finally breaking through the surface. This is not coincidence. This is divine timing, and this is the beginning of your restoration. Aquarius, There was a point in your life when everything you trusted suddenly fell apart. It could have been a relationship that ended before you were ready, a dream that faded even though you gave it your all, or a situation that left you completely drained, wondering what you had done wrong. That moment felt like the ground had disappeared beneath your feet. Nothing made sense, and you couldn't understand why something you loved so deeply had to come to an end. But that loss was not random. It was a turning point, a sacred moment where your soul was forced to wake up. Because sometimes the only way heaven can get your full attention is by taking away what you believed you couldn't live without. It hurts, but that pain becomes the light that shows you where your real path begins. That heartbreak was never meant to destroy you. It was meant to clear your vision. That betrayal you faced revealed people's true hearts, so you would never again invest your love where it isn't valued. That disappointment reminded you that your worth was never in what you lost. It was always in who you were becoming. Aquarius, your spirit is far stronger and wiser than the pain you went through. It carries the memory of every lesson you've ever learned, and it knows that your losses were not the end. They were preparation. Even when others couldn't understand your silence, your distance, or your healing, you were rising quietly from the ashes of what broke you. You weren't meant to stay there. You were meant to rise above it. You see, you didn't lose yourself in that heartbreak. You found the version of you that had been hidden beneath it. You discovered your resilience, your peace, and your spiritual maturity. And though the pain tried to break your confidence, it only broke open your clarity. The kind of clarity that cannot be taken away by anyone or anything. Now that same clarity is leading you toward blessings that are finally circling back. It's guiding you away from distractions and back toward alignment. Everything that ended was necessary for this restoration to begin. What left your life cleared the space for what was meant to stay. And now heaven is whispering one simple truth to your soul. You are ready now. Aquarius, everything in life has its own timing, and nothing ever comes back before that time is right. You may have waited months or even years, wondering why things didn't fall into place sooner. But now, the season has shifted. Your appointed time, the one meant only for you, has finally arrived. The things you lost were never truly taken from you. They were sent ahead, into the distance, to be transformed. The love that once left your life needed time to grow into something mature and genuine. The opportunity that slipped away was waiting for the right doors and the right people to meet you. And the version of you that felt broken needed healing before it could carry what's meant for you next. Now the energy around you is beginning to align. The universe is quietly rearranging itself like a perfect constellation, each piece finding its rightful place, each event unfolding with divine accuracy. It's as if unseen hands are moving things into balance, making sure that when what's yours returns, it fits you perfectly this time. Divine order is not rushed. It does not come with chaos or confusion. When heaven restores something, it returns in peace, with purpose. It brings understanding where there was once frustration and abundance where there was once lack. Some of you will begin to notice it in small but meaningful ways. People from your past might suddenly reach out, not to disturb you, but to reconnect sincerely. Projects or dreams that were once delayed will suddenly move forward with ease. And some of you will simply wake up feeling lighter, as if a heavy weight that you carried for years has quietly fallen away overnight. This is not random. It's not luck. It's divine synchronization, the perfect coordination between heaven and earth. It's the moment when your growth finally matches your destiny, and what was meant for you can now find its way home. Aquarius, this is the calm after the storm. The season of waiting is closing. Everything that drifted away is now moving back toward you. Not in pieces, but in divine order, exactly as it was always meant to be. Aquarius, think back to the things you grieved quietly, the losses you never spoke about, the dreams you buried deep in your heart because they seemed impossible to reach, the person you forgave in silence, even when they never said sorry. The doors you knocked on that never opened, no matter how hard you tried. Those moments stayed with you. The kind of memories that sting when the world goes quiet. But hear this clearly. God never forgot any of those moments. Every tear that fell, every time you chose peace over revenge, every small act of faith when no one was watching, they were all seen. Nothing went unnoticed. Nothing was wasted. Some blessings had to take the long route to reach you because your character was still being shaped. You had to grow stronger, wiser, and more patient. You had to learn what to hold on to and what to let go of. Some people had to leave your life because your peace was too precious for their chaos. And some seasons had to end because what was coming next required more space, more clarity, and a renewed heart. Now, Aquarius, the circle is finally completing itself. You are about to witness things from your past finding their way back to you, but in a better form. It might begin with something small. An unexpected message from someone you haven't spoken to in years. A job opportunity that suddenly reappears, or an idea you once gave up on that begins to make sense again. Pay attention to these moments. They are not coincidences. They are signs that divine restoration has already begun moving in your direction. Every good deed you did from a pure heart, every kindness you offered without expecting anything back, and every prayer you whispered when your soul was breaking, they have all been recorded in the unseen. Heaven has a way of remembering what the world forgets. And now that energy of restoration is returning home, multiplied, refined, and complete. This is your recompense season, Aquarius. The time when life begins to repay you for everything you endured. You will see proof that no pain was pointless, no sacrifice went unnoticed, and no loss was permanent. God is about to show you why the delays were necessary, why the separation was important, and why you had to go through certain storms alone. Because what's coming back to you now isn't random, it's redemption. You are stepping into a moment where everything that once felt gone forever starts to return with divine precision. Not to test you, but to reward you. Not to break you again, but to confirm that your faith held through the hardest season. This is the evidence that heaven has kept its promise. The same hands that allowed certain things to leave are now guiding their restored versions back to you. And when they arrive, Aquarius, you will know that every tear you cried built the bridge for their return. Aquarius, when heaven restores, it never gives back the same version of what was lost. It always comes back greater, stronger, and more meaningful than before. What once felt broken will now return whole. What once caused pain will now bring peace. And what once slipped away will return magnified, carrying blessings you didn't expect. The relationship that ended will be replaced with one that values your soul and honors your spirit. The love that once drained you will be transformed into love that fills you. The income or opportunity that was taken will come back not just as money, but as stability, as growth, as generational security. And that dream you thought had faded into the background will suddenly move forward with divine acceleration, unfolding faster than you imagined. This is not a restart, Aquarius, it's a rebirth. You are not returning to who you used to be. You are stepping into the higher version of yourself that all your pain prepared you for. Because now you've learned to stop chasing what's not aligned with your spirit. You no longer beg for what's already yours in divine timing. You've shifted from needing proof to walking in faith. And because your faith endured through the hardest storms, you're now ready to receive in abundance. When God restores, He doesn't just fix what was broken, He multiplies it. He turns delay into destiny. He turns your test into testimony. He takes what left you empty and fills it beyond what you can carry. The blessings coming your way will speak for themselves. You won't have to convince anyone that your season has changed. The results will announce your restoration before you say a word. Even those who once doubted you will have no choice but to witness what God has done. They will see how your pain became prophecy, how your tears became testimony, and how your loss became your greatest transformation. Heaven is declaring over your life now, what they took in fragments, I will return in fullness. Every broken piece is being restored, and every part of your life that was emptied by pain is being refilled, multiplied, in divine order. Aquarius, when divine restoration begins, it doesn't always announce itself through loud miracles or sudden changes. It begins quietly, deep within you. The first signs are not what you see. They are what you feel. You will notice a lightness in your spirit that you can't quite explain. You'll wake up one morning and realize the heaviness that used to live in your chest is simply gone. You'll look at the same world, but something within you will feel different, clearer, freer, softer. That's not coincidence, Aquarius. That's the evidence of divine order finally moving through your life. It's the vibration of restoration, the kind of peace that doesn't depend on circumstances, the kind of calm that remains steady even when things around you are uncertain. It's heaven whispering, "You're in a new beginning now." You'll feel yourself drawn to peace instead of noise, to purpose instead of distraction. Your heart will crave simplicity. You won't feel the need to explain yourself anymore, because you'll understand that real power doesn't beg to be seen. It simply exists, quietly, confidently, and fully aligned. This is how divine restoration reveals itself. It doesn't always look like money, recognition, or applause, though those things will come too. It looks like emotional maturity. It looks like waking up and realizing you no longer carry resentment for what broke you. It looks like forgiving people, not because they deserve it, but because your spirit no longer wants to carry the weight of bitterness. You'll feel your body respond to this new peace. Your sleep will deepen, your breathing will slow, you'll find comfort in silence instead of fearing it. You'll begin to notice beauty in ordinary things. The morning light, the rhythm of your routine, the way time seems to flow more gently. These are the subtle ways the universe shows you that your restoration is not just spiritual, it's physical, emotional, and energetic. Even your aura, the unseen field around you, will start to shift. People will sense it before you even speak. They'll notice something peaceful about your presence, as if you've been touched by grace. That's because you have. You are no longer walking in survival energy, you're walking in creation energy. You've crossed from endurance to emergence, from being wounded to being awakened, from constantly waiting for signs to realizing you are the sign. Everything about you is changing quietly but powerfully. The way you think, the way you speak, the way you respond to challenges. It's all different now. Where you once reacted with fear, you'll now respond with calm. Where you once felt lost, you'll now sense direction. Where you once tried to control everything, you'll now trust that what's meant for you cannot pass you by. That is divine evidence. That is what heaven does when your heart has finally healed enough to hold new blessings. You'll begin to notice how life starts to flow instead of resist. Things will fall into place naturally. Opportunities, connections, timing. You won't need to force them anymore. Emails you forgot to send will lead to perfect outcomes. People who once turned away will return with understanding, and the doors that once stayed shut will open without effort. That's not luck, Aquarius. That's divine synchronization. That's proof that your vibration has risen high enough to attract what belongs to your frequency. You see, heaven doesn't restore through chaos. It restores through clarity. When your soul is clear, your path clears with it. And right now, your energy is reaching a frequency where everything that matches it is being pulled toward you. The peace you feel isn't emptiness, it's alignment. The silence you sense isn't distance, it's sacred preparation. And the stillness you've learned to love is the new rhythm of your spirit. You no longer resonate with old energy, and that's why certain people, habits, or even memories are fading. It's not rejection, it's evolution. You're not losing what's meant for you, you're releasing what can't exist in this higher vibration. You've outgrown the version of yourself that tolerated imbalance. You've outgrown the environment that kept you small. And now, your soul is expanding to meet the blessings that have been waiting for you to evolve enough to receive them. Aquarius, this is what divine evidence looks like. It's when everything around you begins to respond differently to your inner change. It's when what's meant for you starts tracking your energy. Blessings are intelligent. They move toward peace. And because your peace has become your priority, everything that matches that peace is now being magnetically drawn to you. The love that once missed you will find you. The opportunities that bypassed you will circle back. And the people meant to walk with you in this next chapter will recognize you by your light. They will feel it. That glow of healing, that calm confidence, that quiet strength. This is the evidence of your new beginning. It's not something you chase. It's something that reveals itself through the life you now live. You've stepped into divine rhythm, and everything that belongs to your destiny can finally find its way home to you. So when you feel that lightness in your body, that peace in your chest, or that sudden sense that something wonderful is about to happen, don't ignore it. That's your confirmation. That's the universe saying you've entered the chapter of restoration. Aquarius, the waiting is over. The realignment has happened. And now, everything meant for you, every answered prayer, every promise, every dream is getting closer with each passing day. Because what's meant for you is already moving toward you. It can sense your new frequency. It knows your name, and it's almost here. Aquarius, everything that once slipped from your hands, the love that faded, the opportunities that vanished, the peace that seemed unreachable, they are all finding their way back home to you. But this time, it will be different. This time, it will fit, it will flow, it will fulfill. Because now, you are no longer waiting in fear. You are walking in faith. You are no longer chasing what's gone, you are attracting what's meant. Everything that belongs to your soul is already making its way toward you, guided by divine order, carried by divine timing. You have done the hard part. You have endured, you have healed, and you have grown. Now your only task is to receive. Let the new season unfold gently. Let peace settle where pain once lived. Let joy enter where silence once stayed. Comment below once more. I receive divine restoration. Say it as a declaration, not a wish, a promise between your soul and heaven itself. And if this message spoke to your heart, don't forget to subscribe for more divine insights made just for your Aquarius path. The story is not over, Aquarius. The restoration has already begun. Everything you lost is returning, in divine order, and it starts now.